Hey YouTube, hope you guys are doing well. Short little funny little video here. Not necessarily something that I usually put on my channel, but I was having a good chat in a forum with Todd Hutchings, Toddzilla, Side Pressure King, and Taranenko, who had an interesting video put together where they were discussing and debating and analyzing the data on whether or not a buckle makes a difference. Now, if you know me, you know I believe it does make a big difference. And I wanted to kind of address some of the points and talk about why I think Todd Hutchings is wrong, and continue the little argument with Todd. Now, first things first, the buckle doesn't matter to everyone, but in just identifying first and foremost that it does have an advantage. If there's, for me, the theory that if anyone out there in the world of arm wrestling believes that it gives them an advantage, then there's truth to the matter. I'm one of those arm wrestlers. If you look at my last 12 super matches, I went back and counted my victories when I had no buckle and my victories when I had the buckle. The straps, the matches that didn't go to straps, I didn't count them. Anyway, I've had 17 victories without the buckle, 11 victories with the buckle. So that's my data. That's my data on my last 12 matches. Taranenko went through apparently a whole bunch of tournaments. I don't know how many matches. And it turned out to be really close to 50-50. And Todd Hutchings, the argument was saying that it's irrelevant, that the buckle exists, and that it would show through increased data if there was an advantage. Now, for me, I don't think tournaments are a good example of accurate data collection. The reason being, if I pull someone significantly weaker than me, which happens in tournaments, so when the strong guys, it just filters down nicely, it doesn't matter whether there's a buckle or not. It's not going to be an even factor in determining who the victor is in that given circumstance. For me to really assess whether a buckle makes a difference or not, I believe you need to look at super matches, because they are two opponents that are very evenly balanced in a power sense and an ability sense, and all those other factors of just being stronger are simply not as they're not relevant as much. So the buckle gives itself an opportunity to come to life. Now, if we look at my match with Chance Shaw, everyone who had the buckle lost. If I look at my match that had with Matsuda Rangi in 2018, every time he had the buckle, I lost. If I look at my match with Evan Burgoyne, every time I had the buckle, I lost. But vice versa, when I had the buckle, I won. Interestingly, like against Evan Burgoyne, in round 5, the critical round that was going to determine the match, I actually had the bad side. I would have had the buckle, but I strategically offered to start in a hook out of straps, which Evan sucked in. He fell for it, and I won the match. So he would have actually had the advantage had the match have gone to straps that we started in the buckle. So I'm convinced that if you analyze super matches, now I don't know, you guys do maybe help me out with the data collection, but if you guys go and analyze super matches and just count the buckle victories against the non-buckle victories, I am 100% certain that it will be at least a 55 to 45% win ratio to the non-buckle side. Arm wrestlers like Todd Hutchings will say that he personally doesn't care. It feels the same for him. He's learned how to arm wrestle. He's learned how to manipulate the situations of both conditions, so much so that it feels irrelevant to him. However, I will add to that stylistically, Todd, for instance, is a finger-clamping side pressure guy. He's not a pronation-based arm wrestler. I would say arm wrestlers that have the style of pronation-heavy or pronation-leading offense really do care about the buckle. And the reason being is when that buckle goes on your hand, it's that last tightening moment. If the buckle's on my hand, that last tightening moment just ever so slightly pulls my pronation down. If the buckle's on this side, that last tightening moment ever so slightly drags my pronation over. Now that is a big factor when we're talking about an ability to keep your pronation or control your opponent using your pronation. So the fact that there are maybe 20% of arm wrestlers out there in the elite world of arm wrestling rely on pronation as their lead weapon, for those guys, very much so, the buckle makes a difference. Now, when we combine all data across millions of matches, I think buckles and non-buckles are going to be winning a very, 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 very small margin of the time, because, as I was saying, when you consider tournaments, it's just going to be the stronger person who wins. There's rarely a perfect balanced match in a tournament. There's normally just one guy that's better than everyone, and he doesn't really care which side it is. But there are some things that add to the evidence as well, that clearly you see guys rush up to the table for the good side of the table. Okay, that would only exist if there was an advantage that they perceived that they were going to receive. Also, people like John Brzenk, he will talk about that he will actually make reference to the good and the bad side of the table, and he will talk about if he's on the bad side of the table, he's more likely to force a hook. Hooking is more conducive to success when you don't have the buckle. Top rolling is more conducive to success when you haven't got it. Sorry, I'm not sure if I said that the right way. Hooking when you've got the buckle is better than top rolling. And it's the end state of this is you can learn to become an arm wrestler across all of the styles, and ultimately get to the point where you personally don't care which side of the strap you have. But there will forever be people out there who are invested 100% in one style. Now, if low hand top rolling, for instance, is the one style that you have gone all in on, then you will always care about the buckle. And if you're a Todd Hutchings style arm wrestler, or you're a well-rounded arm wrestler and you personally don't care, you should still actually care, because you don't want your opponent, the low hand top roller, to actually have that advantage, because he feels better when he doesn't have the buckle. So even though you might feel fine either side, you'd like your opponent to feel shitty too. You don't want them to feel great when they're getting strapped up. You want them to feel nervous and worried. So I think there is most definitely an advantage to not having the buckle on your hand. It is easier to manipulate a down ref than it is a head ref. The head ref's looking up right at your wrist, he's controlling it, he's putting that buckle on all sorts of nasty. But the down ref, they're a lot further away. You can sneak more millimeters in. They're often, eyesight is below the table, so they can't quite see what you're doing with your web behind your thumb. There's a lot to it. I think absolutely there is an advantage to the buckle, and I'm convinced Todd Hutchings, go and analyze super matches of opponents balanced with each other in a power and ability sense, and I will bet that at least 55% of matches are won by the person without the buckle. Guys, let me know what you think. And yeah, I'm enjoying having a bit of an argument with my old coach, Todd Hutchings. Alright guys, see ya.